Hi, Will, lovely to finally meet up with you and start doing some work on your game. As promised, a quick recap on video of the key points that we covered and the progress that you've made to date. The bulk of the session was relating to controlling your exit. I know you've worked extensively on the backswing as we discussed over previous years, and irrespective of what changes you made, you were still struggling with the fact that you were exiting too high. So we use the example of Charlie Weed here in the top centre of your screen. We've got the two plane lines on there. You've got the red line, which is hand plane. Once we get past waist level, the right arm starts to flex and the club will elevate onto a higher plane. In this instance, Charlie elevates it onto elbow plane, which is the yellow line. So from a pretty good backswing position, what's going to happen now is the butt of the club is going to work directly down, or the hands are going to work directly down the elbow plane line. So there's been a single shift in the plane of the swing. And then obviously everything at impact is lined up really nicely now. The plane line that Charlie's come down on, which is the yellow line, is also, it's a three-dimensional affair. So we're swinging in a circle on a tilted angle. And we can have all things good up to impact. If through the hit the arms get thrown off the circle, so you can see there that when transcribed on the ground, the yellow line is angled in about 15 degrees. So if we were looking at this from overhead, we'd see the hands and the arms tracing that circle again, rather than what we got with yourself, which was hitting out excessively. So whilst we had issues, if you will, during the downswing, we talked about the hips not quite getting back into the forward flex as we would like. We talked about the little sort of flexing of the left wrist as you change direction on occasion. A lot of that derives from the mobility issues you've got in your right wrist. So rather than trying to fight this, what we're trying to do is just police things using the exit. So the session was about learning to swing out at the golf ball and trace the arc both sides of the ball rather than hitting out excessively. When we zoomed in and looked at it from down the line, if we stop you when the left arm's parallel with the ground, we can see that the left arm is angled inwards, approximately, let's say, 20 degrees. When we look at it from this skewed angle back towards the player, in order to trace the circle both sides of the ball, what we'd need to do through impact now, when the right arm is parallel with the ground, we'd want to see it angled in the same amount as the left arm is in the footage above. And what we actually see is a player who hits out at the golf ball excessively. So you can see there the arms are now no longer tracing the circle, and irrespective of how good the backswing is, how good the delivery position is, how nice we look at impact, if the arms get thrown off the circle, we're going to suffer from pushes and hooks. We're going to get the occasional drop kick in there if the swing gets shifted too far to the right. So we used various means. We used hitting drivers off the deck, because we discussed that if you're shifting it to the right and getting stuck underneath it, or if you're exiting excessively high, it's now impossible to hit the driver off the deck. So we did a little bit of work in that, and that's as much as anything a conditioning exercise. I'd like you to see you do that for a little while every time you practice. What we also set up was a little bit of a pull drill, which you have been doing down on the bottom right on footage when we come to that. But here we've got a cane in the ground about 10 feet out in front of us. We've got a cane here illustrating the line that's running parallel with that cane. And then I've got a red cane down here on the mat that I want you to feel like you're going to hit the ball down. So we're going to try and pull this ball left of the cane that's in front of us. And when we do that, we start to see that the exit lowers. And the way we complete the swing is very different as well. We talked about using the idea of stopping quickly to encourage a better sequencing in the downswing. As you stop quick, or in order for you to stop quick, the body has to do certain things differently. So the act of stopping quick reduces the closure on the club face and reduces the tendency to get the arms thrown off the torso. So the arms being thrown off the torso is the hitting out excessively, and the closure of the club face is the hook. So the arms coming off the torso is more the push, and the club face closing down is the hook. So that's looking much tidier than it was at the start of your session. We just run this one through. At that point the arms get thrown out excessively, the hands start to wrap over, and we can see that the exit position is completely different. So we worked hard on the pull drill. The idea is shifting things left and, more importantly, stopping quick. And the results we ended up with when looked at from, again, this angle was, rather than through impact the arms getting thrown off the body, the arms stay connected, the exit's much lower, and now when that right arm hits parallel to the ground, it's angled in a very similar amount to the position we see it on the left arm in midway down. So we're staying on the circle both sides of the golf ball. Looking at this footage that you sent me across a day or so after your session, certainly the feedback was good on Twitter and Facebook. I think more than anything it's just a case of progressively working this in, becoming better at it, and rather than trying to continuously fix things using the backswing, let's consider controlling the exit, controlling the length of the follow through to try and eradicate the big push and the pull. So getting away from that two-way miss, that big gap between sort of the miss to the left and the miss to the right, tightening up the shot cone by stopping quicker. When you're doing the drill, try and make sure that you finish at this point in the swing. I'm just going to make this bigger for you now. I sent you an email across with some images saying that, right, the swing's actually finished now. So the shot's been hit, you're in full extension, full hip slide, full rotation. All we need to do now is just soften the arms. We don't need to carry on turning like you see there. I'd like to see you working on, like I say, when you do the drill, that would be the ideal finishing position. So when we're stopping quick, that's the sort of completion we want to see. And when it comes to playing golf, once you hit that point, just feel like everything softens, softening of the arms, softening of the wrists. If you want to see someone demonstrate that beautifully, watch Grant Waite or Mike Bennett on YouTube and pay particular attention to what happens after the right arm has reached parallel. So once the right arm passes parallel, we just soften everything up and the shot's been hit. It looks great. I look forward to working with you again. As I said, I hope the trip to Spain goes well. I look forward to more feedback via the emails, and if you've got any questions, feel free to drop me a line. Well done.